Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's webinar. We are excited to have you all here today. So just a couple of housekeeping items before we get started. This session is being recorded and you'll receive access to the recording after the presentation. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the Q&A section and we'll answer them at the end of the webinar. Now I'm pleased to pass it over to Dave King to get us started.
All right. Thank you, Christy. Good afternoon, everyone. I want to welcome you to the first of our Copilot series with Red Level. We're going to be building a continued series around Copilot because it's just such a fantastic product. And we want to introduce that to you today with the first of many coming events that will be coming regarding this and how to employ it and how to use it inside of your business. So just wanted to introduce that. Today, I've got some phenomenal speakers from our company here. I've got Clay Osborne, Ali Ajish, and Hasib Munib, all senior consultants with Red Level. And you're going to get a real treat today by being able to hear from real-world experience of how we're using it with customers, some of Red Level's own examples of how we're doing it, and kind of introduce you to Copilot. There's a number of different components to it, and it can get really expansive really quick. But we want to introduce this to you, kind of get you started with what it is, why it's important, and I'm sorry, Christy, I don't see the control buttons. Oh, there, way down there. Okay, so what we're going to talk about today is the overview, why it's important, why you should be concerned about it, some customer evidence about what customers are using this and how they're achieving success. We've got a demo or two scheduled towards the end of the call, and then a call to action of really how to get started. Sometimes that's the hardest step, is how do I get started with this, because it can be so expansive. So the first part of that is we're going to get you educated on this today. But honestly, from the stats, it's showing that most people have already used some form of AI, even if they're not fully aware of that. And we'll talk about that as we kind of go through this presentation. But I think one of the things that we talk about with our customers is that really AI is just not science fiction anymore. It's a part of the daily use of business, and it's only becoming more and more prevalent. Whether or not you realize some of the services or tools that you're engaging with or being engaged with are AI-based or underlying the surface, they are there and they're only going to continue to permeate. There's a lot of concerns, though, with employing a tool like this, and you have to be fully aware of the impact that it can have in your business and the benefits, of course, but there's certainly a balance between both of those that we're going to talk about today and things that you should be concerned about. A couple things that just examples that we use it for here at Red Level is that we use it with our own clients. And one example that our CTO had a conversation with one of our clients that brought in a cybersecurity solution that they had been using at their parent company, a global company. They brought in and said that, hey, we like this solution in particular. And we were able to analyze their findings using some of the Copilot services and compare it to some of the Microsoft embedded services and be able to come up with a much better solution by presenting all of these different data points together that would have taken our CTO at least 40, 50, maybe 60 hours to build together. But with just a couple hours of research and combining the data points, he was able to have a fully vetted out statement of work, a proposal, and we were able to continue to working with this client. So just, again, one example of how we're being able to do that. Hasib on this call today is actually using it for clients to employ Microsoft best practices. So when Microsoft releases these 100 or 200 page documents on how to employ things like Copilot or Azure or security components, we're able to pull those pieces together and provide statements of work, project plans, and pull everything together in a much more comprehensive way. But I think this video here that I'm going to show you next will be able to give you a better example of how Microsoft, is looking to deploy this in the market. Okay. So a statistic recently from Gartner was that more than 80% of businesses will have some type of Gen AI, either deployed or that they're going to create their own. And we're seeing that in every case that most customers have a treasure trove of data inside of their environment. They're just looking for some tools or connectivity into those tools or those data sets to be able to generate the information that they want quickly. And Microsoft has created that inside of the tenant that you guys all have with the M365 platform to be able to pull content from your Excel documents, your emails, your PowerPoint presentations, even your own local data files, and be able to generate applications and generate the results that you're looking for. Some people have said that AI is going to create a digital divide. We're going to have people being displaced out of work, but I don't necessarily agree with that personally. And I think that even when I attended Microsoft's training around Copilot, it's really not the displacement of the people. It's going to be the displacement of people that aren't comfortable or willing to use AI that there'll be more disruption with. There's so many, there really is a talent shortage with components around so many different areas, but the tools that are coming in are going to help drive better turn with these different areas. Bring your own AI to work isn't just for Gen Z. I imagine that most people on the call, I certainly have heard of, but most likely have all used at some level ChatGPT, which is a form of the generative AI, where you're asking questions or building results for that. Greater than 70% of people are already using these things, and they're actually using them at work, whether you like it or not, if you're in control or custody of the IT components. So having access to that and having security around that is going to be key for what you give and control access to. But people are bringing these things to work. The number one rise of the AI power user is people that experiment. So one of the strategies that we talk about with our customers is employing a test group of pilot people. So find the people that are most likely to champion this kind of a technology inside of your organization, and let's get some test and pilot licenses going so that they can really experiment and grow and use these tools. Today, 75% of people are using some form of this at work already. I know Red Level uses ours for marketing forensics. We use it for statements of work generating. We use it for all sorts of content collection. We use it for meeting notes and organizing to-dos and task lists. We're finding more and more ways every day to use this, and I think you're only going to see that expand. AI does break the career barriers, so they would not. In the future, it's going to be certainly a component of people using this on their resume and having the skills to be more functional, more flexible with their AI skills. Again, most employers are concerned about not having enough talent to fill the roles. And it's not just about the skills shortages, it's about the knowledge around AI. And with that, I'm going to turn this over to our first part of our section for Hasib, who's going to go a little bit deeper, or a lot deeper, around the Azure platform and infrastructure. Take it away, Hasib.
Okay, thank you, Dave, for that insightful overview. Hello, everyone. I am Hasib Munib, a consultant in Azure Platform and Infrastructure at Red Level. So we will explore what Microsoft 365 Copilot is and why it matters and how it can enhance our work. So let's dive into how Copilot can bring significant value to our business. All right. So to begin with, let's understand what exactly Microsoft 365 Copilot is. So Microsoft 365 Copilot is an AI-powered assistant that integrates into Microsoft 365 apps like Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, and Teams. And it combines large language models with our organization data, such as email, documents, meetings, chat, to So that make it like a powerful tools to help us with personalized assistance, AI assistance. And why it matters? So we all live in an era that efficiency and innovation are crucial. So Copilot help us to work smarter, not harder. And so this allows us to focus on strategic initiatives that drive our business forward. Like as Dave mentioned, we use at Red Level on our daily basis to expedite our repetitive task that we have at Red Level and kind of help our clients using this AI powered assistant. This is a high-level architecture of Microsoft 365 Copilot. So in this architecture, we're gonna see how it works on the back end. So all the data flow is working over an encrypted via HTTPS and WSS. So when user prompts are sent to Copilot, Copilot access Microsoft Graph, and it has web as an optional feature in case if we want to have some access web resources and other services for grounding like Microsoft Power Platform services or some more plugins that we have for Microsoft 365 Copilot. So Copilots once access this information inside our tenant, then Copilot sends a modified prompt to LLM or large language model. So if you have a question, what's LLM or large language model? It's a type of AI that can understand, process, and generate human language. So we just and then Copilot review the LLM response. So it access graph and for compliance and preview, and then help us with the response. So this is how Microsoft Copilot M365 work backend. All right, so now that we know what Microsoft 365 Copilot is and why it's important, let's explore some tangible business values that Microsoft 365 offers. So the first thing, productivity gain. Copilot simplify workflows by automating repetitive tasks, like enabling to focus on higher value work. Like as Dave mentioned, we use it for summarizing best practices provided by Microsoft or the other best practices that we have in industry to help our clients. Like we have some examples here, drafting reports in Microsoft Work using prompts in seconds instead of spending minutes or hours, or generating data insight in a Excel without any manual efforts or formulas. Also, Microsoft Copilot help us to reduce time on manual tasks, so that lead to operational cost saving, and it help us to minimize errors, reducing cost associated with reworks. So with just writing a prompt, and it help us with minimizes errors and reduce cost associated with working or spending hours on a same thing. So the other thing is like competitive advantage. as they've mentioned on overview slides, that by 2026, up to 80% of enterprise gonna adopt generative AI and AI for the team. So early adoption of AI tools like Microsoft 365 Copilot position us ahead of our competitors. So that kind of help us to earlier adopt these AI tools and get used to it and be ahead of our competitors. In new studies, Microsoft researchers show that Microsoft 365 Copilot drove up to 353% ROI for small and medium businesses, which is a lot on cost saving and revenues. All right. So having seen the business value, let's delve into how Microsoft 365 Copilot boosts our daily work. So we all use Microsoft 365 apps on our daily basis. And imagine if we use Microsoft 365 Copilot to summarize a complex report in a second, or getting suggestion to enhance our writing, or help us to summarize 100 pages in to a short document that we can review and spend the remaining time on other initiatives and important tasks. Meanwhile, with Microsoft Excel, Microsoft 365 Copilot help us with creating graphs and charts automatically by just writing prompts, and that happened in seconds. So we don't need to spend like minutes and hours or a lot of time to filter our data or kind of get some valuable insights from Excel datasets. Or when it comes to presentation, so now Microsoft 365 Copilot gonna help us to turn a Word document into a professional presentation in seconds or minutes. So we don't need to spend that much hours that we used to spend on generating or creating presentations for simple ideas or document. And it's not only about saving cost, the quality and the amount of productivity that we get by Microsoft 365 to get all these jobs done in short time. So these are all just with Microsoft 365 apps like Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, and Microsoft PowerPoint. But beyond these functions, Copilot also enhances communication and collaboration, like Microsoft Microsoft Outlook and Microsoft Teams, which is really great. Like so, it helps us to summarize emails and organize our inbox efficiently. So it kind of keeps us on top of our emails without getting overwhelmed. Also, Microsoft 365 integrated in Microsoft Teams that provide real-time meeting transcriptions. So if we miss that meeting, we have a transcript that kind of summarize it using Microsoft 365, and no need for minutes of meeting, or like if we want to double check to identify key points help us for any action items for that meeting. So that's how Microsoft 365 help us with collaboration, especially the way that most of us like working either hybrid or remotely, and we are getting involved with many email communications and meetings. So that's an important part of Microsoft 365 Copilot that help us to uh, uh, do our collaboration faster and focus on other important tasks. So now let's explore how Copilot integrate within our IT infrastructure, which is important. So Microsoft 365 integrate with existing Microsoft 365 services, and it supports cross-platform functionality like Windows, Mac, different operating system, and it has a web-based version. Also, the deployment processes can get done by Microsoft 365 Admin Center. We have this ability to do a phased rollout instead of like full deployment to all users. The admin team can control to manage features availability aligned to their organization need, and the admins can monitor the usage and analytics on the back end of Microsoft 365 admin. And we can also customize the configuration of Microsoft 365 Copilot to align with company policies. So when it comes to adopting new technology, so always security, trust, and compliance is important, and it's always a question. So Microsoft 365, it's enterprise grade security consistent with Microsoft 365 standards and industry standards. So the data stay within your Microsoft tenant, and usually there's a question that why we use Microsoft 365 Copilot over ChatGPT or Google Gemini. So the Microsoft 365 Copilot grounded into your tenant, and the data stay within your Microsoft 365 tenant. So it has privacy assurance. The user data is not used to train underlying AI models, which is always a concern when it comes to security. Also, Microsoft 365 Copilot adheres to regulation like GDPR, HIPAA, ISO, and third-party audits. So admins can control data access and user permission. So this is about Microsoft 365 Copilot security. So now we know Microsoft 365 is secure and compliant. I know there's still some questions that we're going to answer during Q&A about security, and so just how Microsoft 365 make it work easier for everyone, for end users, for technical team. It simplified the integration to the apps that we already use it, and it interact with Copilot through natural language prompt. We get our result by a human language, and it has minimal learning curve, so it start immediately whenever we are ready for our team. And Microsoft support resources, we have in-app guides and tool tips, access to Microsoft Learn. It has a lot of resources that are always helpful. A webinar and training session, I just want to mention that at a Red level, we are excited to offer a comprehensive full-day training to empower our clients, technical team, and end users with the skills to master Copilot, like if you're interested. So we will be available to help with that. So finally, let's look at a specific scenario for different roles. We have, this is just a number of examples how Microsoft 365 Copilot help different roles, and we have more of these scenarios in Microsoft official website. So you can see for different roles how it saves time with recurring tasks that for different roles. So that's kind of help us more on how we can use Microsoft 365 Copilots. So I will hand it over to Clay. He will guide us through next topic. Thanks for your attention. Clay, the floor is yours.
Hello. All right. So Microsoft 365 Copilot for security. There's a lot in this section. We'll go through it pretty quick, but the open text prompts that we see all the time, we really get to utilize them here in the security space. So Microsoft Purview is kind of the rebranding of that. But we can, handle incident summarization. We're doing the impact analysis, reverse engineering of scripts. There's a lot of different items. I'll just kind of go through these quickly. So incident summarization is pretty much exactly as it sounds. You come in and, you come in and you're asking asking Copilot for a nice summary of any incidents in the area, anything that has popped up in the admin center that you want to be alerted about instantly without having to dig around and find it. It's very powerful for that to make a nice little concise, easy to understand English, paragraph of exactly what's going on. You can use Copilot to impact analysis, basically asking it if we do have a security breach of some kind, what is the possible potential impact of that? How far reaching is it? What is it reaching into? What data is impacted? What services are impacted? Copilot can also reverse engineer some of these scripts that a lot of the scammers and hackers are using. It can analyze the script and give you a nice English readout of what the script does. So you can kind of understand it without needing to understand the code or understand, development or logic flow at all. It's just going to give you a nice rundown of what that script is attempting to accomplish. So threat hunting, it's kind of a proactive approach. Again, asking Copilot for any possible issues in the environment, anything that it sees, any potential vulnerabilities, and we want to, mitigate those. So we want to catch them before they can actually cause harm. Intelligence gathering, that's, just simple analysis, looking through security intelligence that's actually published out there. So known scams, known phishing attempts, known vulnerabilities. It's basically always up to date on the latest threats that are out there. Then posture management in the Microsoft space, we all know it as Secure Score. We obviously love to see this skyrocket, and with Copilot's help, that's even more within reach than ever before. It's going to root out those, tough to find issues that you may overlook on the 3,000th line detail of, whatever report. Copilot's going to find it and be able to highlight that kind of information and summarize it for you in a very readable and easy to understand manner. So usage and adoption. We can also monitor Copilot, see how people are using it, where they're reaching in the organization, and if it's actually getting some traction. Are people using it? Where are they using it most? So you're going to be able to use Copilot to figure out where other people are using Copilot, kind of see the reach and if people are actually using it and how they're using it. Now, security hardening, so, that's obviously we all want security hardening. This is a little bit different. Now, this is kind of the flip side. We're talking about Copilot and it in the environment, but who's watching Copilot? It's a very new technology. You don't want to just trust it with all of your data blindly. You want to watch and make sure you know where it's reaching and basically monitor its activity. and make sure it's not reaching into areas it shouldn't based on the security trimming of the user. Obviously, if there's a HR site is a good example. There's lots of documents in HR sites that just, it's not for everybody's eyes. You don't want to have Copilot scraping through that and giving any of that information to anyone who asks. That it should be security trimmed, locked down. If it's a SharePoint site, for example, people don't have access to it, Copilot won't be able to access it. But it's going to find these kinds of holes. If you see the adoption and the usage, you see where people are going, you'll be able to see and lock down areas that maybe were open that you didn't realize. So I kind of ripped through that pretty quick. I'd like to introduce my colleague, Ali. He will go over Copilot Studio on the Power Platform.
You're on mute, Ali.
Okay. Hi. So I'll go through a little bit more of scenarios where we use Copilot or where you can use some of the cool features that maybe you don't know about more outside of the regular 365 usage Office apps. And that's where it comes with the Power Platform and then something that we have that's called Copilot Studio. So one of the things that we do with clients is we developed some apps using the Power Platform. And if you're not familiar with it, there is Power Automate to automate workflows. There's Power Apps where you can create interfaces, interact with data from different sources, and just create apps with these. And usually you don't need to be a developer to use those, but you need some knowledge to use these. And with Copilot, it becomes a lot easier and easier for regular users to become Power App users or Power Platform users, because now Copilot is integrated as an assistant. And for example, in Power Apps, just as a start, you can just have that natural conversation, just as you've seen ChatGPT or even Copilot. We have you can just talk to it and it would start building those screens. It would give you the base app that you need. And then where you have those advanced formulas that you need to use. And if you're confused, and usually you Google them, have to ask people out, you can always just ask Copilot within the Power Platform to explain a formula for you, or even tell it to create that formula, and it will help you do that. And that's not the only thing. And again, I'm within the example of Power Apps. If you're creating an app and you're trying to do like a search bar, and usually you have to create those formulas. You have to tell it which fields that user is searching on. So if you're looking, let's say, on the data on someone's profile, your search bar usually is based on their first name, but you can have it maybe based on first name and last name, but then you have to write all that logic into your app. But now you have a Copilot control, and it's smart enough where you just plug in that one Copilot and tell it, this is my data. And then the users can just naturally interact with Copilot as if you had it integrated with your app, and it will pull that data, it will control your app, it will filter everything using your data and the power basically of AI. The same goes with Power BI. You can start connecting to your data sources. You can just naturally explain what kind of graphs, what are you trying to get, what kind of KPIs you're trying to get from those data sources, and it will try and create those graphs for you without you having to go in and do any transformation, anything else with your data. One other thing, some kind of key features here with everything that we're saying is one, you can customize your AI models, and that's basically using Copilot Studio and the Power Platform. It is integrated with your business data, so Unlike if you're using anything outside of Microsoft, the Copilot has access to all the data that's inside your tenant, or even more based on the context of the current user. You can create custom workflows, and that will come in with the Copilot Studio, but also it can help you create custom workflows with the Power Automate platform. The interface, natural language, and that's not just for you, but even for your users, because then anything that you create using the Power Platform and integrate that Copilot integration, then the users can also just interact by chatting with your apps and have actions happen. And all this is just no code or low code experience. Again, Power Platform usually a lot of the things you can just drag and drop. It's the same thing with building your own Copilot. And then security and compliance is always within the data, just grabbing on what Steve and Clay mentioned. It's all inside of your tenant. It's not going to be trained for any AI model. It's basically locked to the user. And this is one thing that I want to mention and kind of have is the Copilot Studio, where you can build your own agent. So we do a lot of chatbots and virtual agents using different tools from Microsoft, but now you have Copilot Studio where you can create your own chatbot that's specialized, and then you can place it where you want to place it or target specific users with it. So you get to design the experience similar to how you design Power Automate workflow. You connect it to whatever data you need. You can upload files to read from. You can connect it to a SharePoint file site that's internal to you, and you know the only data that bot is specialized in would be that. You can connect it to multiple sources, but you can also connect it to outside sources. And then you can deploy it to multiple products within the Office 365, but also you can integrate it with your live website. You can target it to a specific team channel. You can have it just integrated as if you've used Copilot and you have the Copilot chats in your team, you can actually have an option where they can select one of your custom-made Copilot models and interact with it. Really, just some set of features that you can do with Copilot. So I'm gonna hand it back to Hasib because I believe he has a demo to show.
Yep. Thanks, Clay. Let me share my screen. All right, so I'm gonna have a quick demo for different Microsoft 365 applications. And so you're gonna start with, we can access Microsoft 365 Copilot once the license assigned to our account. So we can either open portal.office.com and there's an icon for Microsoft 365, or we can use this URL m365.cloud.microsoft.com. As I mentioned before, so we have two tabs here, work and web. So when we switch to work, we have different options here. We can add people. If we want to work together on something, we have all the files that we have access. And just want to mention that it works based on the existing permissions and access that we have to files. And also we can prepare for meetings, and we can summarize our emails through web-based. So this is all it gave us options to use Microsoft 365 Copilot web-based using our tenant or the files we have access. But we also have web tabs, so it help us with web resources that we have. If we search for something, if we ask for anything here, so it automatically search the webs, and we can kind of customize it. So the important thing is here how we interact with AI and how AI interact with us, like how we can make it that like whole relationship feel human, because that's the LLMs kind of help us to make that. So let me Microsoft Excel so we can use it with. All right, so this is Microsoft Excel test data set. I want to run some prompt and make sure to have some demonstration here. So we have a data set like it's just 100 over 100 rows. We have region, we have month, and also we have sales. So we want to ask what are the key sales trends over the past year. Using the data set we have. So we have Copilot to help us with this. Oh, I missed this here, but let's see. So it take a few seconds and gonna help us with this prompt. All right, so this is the outcome for the prompt. Let's give it a few more seconds to finish up. All right, either we can add this to a new sheet, or we can ignore this and ask for a new result. Let's say summarize this data by region. Let's see what would be the result. All right, so now we just have these two results that it might took us to spend minutes to have this prepared by doing some manual stuff to have this outcome. So we just got it by typing this short prompt, and we got these two results based on what we asked from Microsoft Copilot. So we have, let me bring this data sheet. So we have complicated Microsoft Excel data set. Like it has a principal amount, annual interest, year, and this monthly compound interest. So we can play with this Excel data set with I have a prompt ready to kind of save time. Let me copy that and paste it here. So let's see what would be the result. I just ask create a formula to calculate the monthly compound interest for these values, like instead of doing it manually. So this is the result, and this is the formula for this. We can just simply click here, insert column, and now we can see. So I already ran this, that's why I just want to make sure. So we can see the monthly compound interest by monthly compound. This is the formula we can use. So same thing, if we want to.
All right, thanks, Hasib. And we're going to be able to get into some questions here just in a second. But I know we've covered a lot of information today, but as we kind of regather ourselves with the different aspects of where to get started at, we like to educate as we're starting some of that today. We want to evaluate, and then we want to embrace some of the cloud solutions from Microsoft. But one of the first things that we would do is have a security conversation. Clay mentioned making sure that your data is secure, things are in the right location, the right permissions, the right identity. That would really be step one, is to have a conversation with us and our team around making sure that you're ready for that. You can certainly purchase and download and start this, but it's a lot easier to do the security conversation first to ensure this before all the data gets collected and ingested. The next step that we would recommend is identifying a group of users inside of your company that would be the best advocates and test users for this. Typically, it's a group of anywhere from 5 to 10 people that are kind of innovators out in front, looking to be more efficient with the work that they do. And you would get them to really start to do some of these things. And you would challenge them to do a couple things a week to really say, hey, let's see how we can do different components. Let's enable this inside of our documentation. Let's get better Excel reporting. Let's get better response from our notes. And just a number of different ways. And our team can kind of help you, coach you through the M365 Copilot experience with that. And even right now, Microsoft has a 15% off for 10 licenses that I think is going to expire here at the end of the year. But there is a promotional pricing from Microsoft on the Copilot license just to get you started as well. And lastly, we do have a quick start, which is really an organization-focused quick start. So it's where you would bring a number of your employees, anywhere from typically 8 to 10 employees, and it's a full day immersion experience of us working with you inside of your data sets to really explore and go deeper with Copilot and how it would enable and be started in your environment. So that really is one of the best ways to get deep into this. You get the hands-on, you get the experience, and you get to work as your own group to really pull all these different components together. So after this, we'll certainly be reaching out, but if you want to get started with it, really it's just a conversation that our next steps would be getting started, talking about the things that you're looking to achieve, and then we can certainly bring these pieces together. So with that, I'm going to kind of turn this over to Christy for Q&A, and then we'll do our best to get Q&A. We may run a few minutes over depending on the amount of questions, but we're happy to stay as long as everyone else is.
Perfect. Okay, we did have a few questions come in. So Dave, you kind of answered this a little bit, but what do you suggest for getting a company comfortable with using AI? Currently, my company has no AI policy.
Yeah, I think just kind of what we talked about is just let's start that conversation with one of our group here, and what do they want to achieve? And let's set some objectives and set some goals. But we want to make sure that security is a big part of that, having that conversation up front. But it all starts with a conversation and goals and objectives.
Perfect. The next one's more technical. So can Copilot answer the following question? Copilot rank every project I have ever emailed about by the number of emails that reference the project. And if an email references more than one project count, is it at one instance of each project it has mentioned?
So I can kind of go a little bit into that question. So Copilot can, right, at least currently, can only go back so much. So it can, and I believe it can only go back a month. So yeah, it might be able to answer the question, but it's only with the context of the data that it has. So it's not going to go behind a month. So you might not get help that you want depending on the emails that you have within those 30 days.
Okay. And then another one that was, does Copilot see everyone on my emails in archive and all folders?
No, so it only sees, I believe it sees the inbox, but it might see other folders, but not the archive.
All right. And then we have, do you need Microsoft 365 to use Copilot?
To use Microsoft, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, so Microsoft Copilot, we have different Microsoft Copilots. We have Microsoft Copilot personal account, like you can just have a subscription. But when it comes to Microsoft 365 Copilot, yeah, that's a prerequisite. You need to be in Microsoft 365 to utilize Microsoft 365 Copilot, but Microsoft provide a personal license. I mean, it's also available a web-based version, so you can use it that way.
Okay, and then can Copilot be customized?
And that's where the Copilot Studio comes in. You can create your own models and kind of customize it, and even do some logic into it. But it's not going to be the main Copilot, so it'd be modules, but you can integrate them to the main Copilot, but the user will have to enable and disable them. They'll have the option to do so.
And then another one was, how user-friendly is it for employees who are not tech savvy?
Should be very user-friendly since it's, all English prompts and you're talking to it in natural language like you would talk to anybody else.
All right, and then how do I enable Microsoft Copilot?
You need a license, and then in the main Microsoft Copilot, yes, if you have the license, you set it, it will be enabled. There are more options that you can disable using the admin, but really, as long as the user is assigned a license, they'll get Copilot within the applicable apps.
All right, and then the last question that came in was, does Copilot provide predictive insights?
Yes, at least in the security area, it is definitely looking and predicting and analyzing. Go ahead, Hasib, you had more to say.
Yeah, so Microsoft 365 Copilot also offer a predictive insight, like particularly within Excel, like by analyzing your data, Copilot can identify trends, forecast outcome, and highlight with assisting in data-driven decision making. So,
if you have any more questions or you want to learn more about how Microsoft Copilot can help you and your team, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. You can give us a call at 248-412-8200 or email us at info@redlevelgroup.com. So we'll be sending the recording and the quick start to your inbox shortly, but thank you again for joining, and we hope you have a great day.